over here. I'm going to do the instructional TDA day 1 with you. If you would open up your Google Slides to the fiction instructional TDA number 1, you'll see that our first slide has a link that takes us to a YouTube video. This is of a Pixar short called Bounding. And the first time I tried to open it, I kind of got an error message. It looks like this. If you see that, you just need to click on this link that says Watch on YouTube, and it will take you to the short video. It's just a couple minutes long. As a summary, we are introduced to a sheep. And this sheep kind of starts the video with being very confident. He has this beautiful white coat. He does a dance, and everyone that lives around him, the other animals, think that he's like a hot shot. He's a cool dude. And shortly after, he is taken to a car or cart, and he is shaved, and they keep his wool. So now he looks funny, he looks different, he lost his beautiful white coat that he was so proud of, and he kind of feels sorry for himself. He's depressed, he's hiding, the other animals are laughing at him. A jackalope, which is an animal that is like a rabbit, but it has antlers, comes and talks to him. Now, this is interesting because jackalopes are very kind of strange looking animals. We don't really have any rabbits that have antlers except for them. So they're kind of in the same position where they both look a little bit strange or different than people think they should look. He ends up talking to him about kind of being proud of who he is and that the white wool doesn't make him who he is. And the sheep decides to do something different, and instead of dancing, he decides that he's going to start bouncing. What's interesting about that is the title of the short is Bounding, and you might have heard the phrase before about like shooting a rebound or getting a rebound. It kind of means like starting fresh, or rebounding from something means that something was difficult, but you're like starting anew. And that is exactly what our sheep does in the video. So I talked a little bit about the summary, which should lead us to the answer of this question. It says, what are some possible themes from the Pixar Bounding? So themes are things that we learn from it could be text. In this instance is going to be the video. So what does the character kind of take away at the end? I think there's several things that we could say. One of the things I think would be a good lesson is that you should be comfortable with who you are. So the sheep at the beginning was confident because of that white wool, and when it was taken away from him, he kind of lost who he was a little bit. This could be related to people in real life, like people who like to wear a lot of like name brand clothing, and they only like to wear Nike, or they only like to wear Under Armour. The clothes that you wear on the outside have nothing to do with the type of person you are on the inside. So I think the lesson could be taken away that you should be comfortable with you, not hiding behind clothing, or the sheep is hiding behind the wool. Another thing I think the sheep learns is to try something new. So instead of dancing, he decides he's going to start bounding or bouncing around where he lives, and he kind of gains the friends back by trying something different. So if you maybe want to add one more theme that you think of to this list before you submit it. Then I want to talk about slide number 2, which is our prompt. Now, it's always nice to deconstruct our prompt before We read because then we can kind of hold that in our mind and use that when we are reading our story. So our prompt says, in the passage Ida B and her plans to maximize fun, avoid disaster, and possibly save the world, the author's world is turned upside down. Write an essay analyzing how changes in Ida B's actions, thoughts, and words reveal a theme about happiness. Use text evidence to support your response. So we had a little preview of the story Ida B last week, where we know that it is a fictional story, meaning that it's made up. So I'm going to go ahead and cross off the side that says informational, because I know that the story is not going to have elements in that part of the chart. Now I'm going to look at the prompt and I'm focusing on the middle section right here. It says write an essay analyzing, how changes in Ida B's actions, thoughts, and words reveal a theme. So right away, I hear the word theme. I also hear Ida B is the character, actions, thoughts, and words. So I think the other element we're connecting to is the character's responses to challenges. It would also be okay if you did just characters. But since we're focusing on only one character, I think this is a better choice. We want to know how Ida responded. So now that I'm holding that in my head, as I'm listening to the story, I'm looking for examples of something that Ida B does, something that she thinks, or something that she says throughout the story to show the theme. And that theme is happiness. So how does Ida B go from being kind of depressed and sad at the beginning of the story, and she changes into finding happiness by the end? We want to prove that that occurs throughout the story with proof, text evidence, with what she thinks, what she does, or what she says. So as you read through the story the first time today, you might want to keep those thoughts in your mind and be looking for that text evidence. Tomorrow we'll be completing our chart with our inference and analysis using that evidence. If you find some you like, maybe jot it down to the side or highlight it if that helps you remember for tomorrow. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.